welcome back. So I did a poll on Facebook and LiveJournal about what kind of vid you guys wanted me to make next. And I apologize if I didn't do this on YouTube, but I'm going to start doing that as well. I just didn't know how to do a poll on YouTube. But basically, the most popular vote that I got was doing a vid about the Chesapeake Bay. Basically, the sinking islands of the Chesapeake Bay. So, I will still do the other vids, with the exception of one, and that's the one that I titled Madness. That is basically me playing with my kid's toy from McDonald's and doing British accents, because it's basically Peter Rabbit and his cousin playing something similar to Hungry Hungry Hippo. Well, I filmed that, and it was crap, so I won't do that. So, moving on. Oops, sorry about that. Brush drops in the way. So, for people who are not from America, let alone who are not near the state of Maryland and Virginia, the Chesapeake Bay is an estuary. In the U.S. states of Maryland and Virginia. The northern portion is in Maryland, and the southern portion is in Virginia. The Chesapeake Bay is very important to Marylanders and Virginians because it's a major feature for ecology as well as the economy. And other states profit off the bay as well. It is 200 miles long, which is 320 kilometers, and then it is 2.8 miles wide, and I have no idea what that is in the metric system. I think it's somewhere close to over 4,000 meters. I think, yeah. I quickly memorized that because I swim 2,000 meters, which is 1.2 miles, a day, or in a day, and then sometimes I swim that twice a week, and that amounts to being 4,000 meters, which is a little bit over 2.5 miles, if I did the math right. I don't think I did the math right. But anyway, anywho, it's 2.8 miles wide. In the present form that the bay is in, and the location where it's at, was created by a Ballad impact event at the end of the Eocene period. And a Ballad is a large, bright, like as bright as the moon, meteor that caused a major impact. This happened about 35.5 million years ago. And not only did this impact create the Chesapeake Bay, it also created the Susquehanna River Valley as well later on. And the bay as we know it today began to form 10,000 years ago when rising sea levels from the end of the last ice age began to flood the Susquehanna River Valley. So that's the Chesapeake Bay right there. There are 281 islands in its waters and waterways, from the Atlantic Ocean to large white rivers that are in the upper Potomac. And of the 281 islands, 53 of them are in the Chesapeake Bay. The islands are relatively permanent, though there's some disappearing on the scale of several decades to a few centuries. And this is where we get to the subject matter of the vid, the sinking islands of the Chesapeake. So, let me just do that. Sorry, I'm on my computer doing all this crap. Okay. I have a fan page on Facebook called Effie Wilson of Holland Island. First of all, let me explain who Effie Wilson is. She was a girl from Holland Island that died when she was 13 This was in 1893. And on her epitaph, I'm just going to give the first few lines. On her epitaph said, "Forget me not is all I ask. I cannot ask for more." There's more of it, but I haven't memorized that part. Just the few first lines. And this is going to come into play later on in this vid. So, she's from Holland Island. She was born and raised on Holland Island. And Holland Island is one of the islands in the Chesapeake. It is between Bloodworth Island and Smith Island. A quick reference about Bloodworth Island. That island is off limits to the public because this is where the military used to detonate weapons at. And since some of them didn't go off, it's literally like a big, huge landmine. So people are not allowed to go there. So no Bloodworth Island for anybody unless you're in the military. And Smith Island is the only inhabited island in the Chesapeake Bay on the Maryland side at this point. But I'll get to Smith Island later. It was settled in the 1600s, but the first community wasn't founded until 1850. And the residents didn't begin to notice that the island was rapidly eroding until 1914, which forced the first wave of inhabitants to leave the island, and because it used to be inhabited by watermen and farmers. And the last family left in 1918 when the church got heavily damaged by a tropical storm. And a few stayed behind for the fishing season in 1922, and then the island was finally abandoned in 1922 when the church moved to mainland. A lot of the residents of Holland Island moved to places like Crisfield, Maryland, and other places along the coast and stuff. They actually dismantled their own homes to move them to mainland so their homes wouldn't be destroyed. But a few homes stayed on the island, and, well, that didn't bode well. So, cut to a few decades later. There's a man named Stephen White who is a minister, and he had an uncle that was a caretaker on the island. And, you know, he bought the island eventually and tried to restore it, tried to prevent it from sinking and stuff. He got the part of the island that had the last house standing on it. Because here's the thing. And this is where I bring the help of my computer in. So what you're seeing right here is a map of Holland Island over the last 140 years. See this area right here? This is where the majority of the houses on the island used to be. I'm going to get my glasses so I can see better. Okay, so in 1869, they were right here, or around 1869, they're right here. Alright, this right here, this white patch, all around the island right here, was the shoreline in 1869, okay? This dotted line is the 1955 shoreline. So, between 1869 and 1955, the shoreline went from here, keep in mind these are where the houses used to be, to here. So, all that right there is what the island was in 1955. So, half of these homes were gone by 1955. So then, cut to 1989, this is the shoreline right here, the yellow. Alright, you see you got a patch up there, you got some right here. As you can see, where where most of the houses used to be are now gone. Alright. This right here is the cemetery, I think. Yeah, something like that. And this right here, this little black spot up here, is the last house on Holland Island. Okay? So, cut to 2009. You only have this left. You have that left. And then you have that left. And the last house of Holland Island is barely holding on by a thread. So, that's Holland Island in the last 140 years. So I'm just going to show you a few pictures of Holland Island. This is what was in its heyday when it still had inhabitants. All these houses right here. And let's see if I go the right way. This is the cemetery on Holland Island. This is where Effie Wilson would have been buried at. And I'm about to get to the point of why Stephen White was really motivated to save this island. So, let's see if I go the right way. Nope, I did not. That's a fail. I'm fired. Alright, this is Holland Island, but it's before 2010. As you can see, this is what's left of the island by this point. The last house is right there. And then, boom. Oh, nope. It's still the last house standing, but there's more land still compared to the last picture. I got that in the wrong order for some odd reason. But yeah, this is the island still prior to 2010, and then there you go. So this is the last house on Holland Island back in its heyday. Right? Keep this image in mind as you go through the rest of the pictures. Okay. So we go, hopefully this is the right way. Yep. There's the house on what little land is left. This is all before 2010. And if you want to know when the house was built, it was built in 1888. There's the inside of the house. This is hurricane damage. I'm trying to remember. I think it was... No, it wasn't from Sandy. It was from some other storm. Because I think Sandy was in 2014, and this would have been way before 2010. But this was maybe 2010 because the house didn't collapse too long after this got heavily damaged by a hurricane. You can actually see the stairs, or maybe that's another floor coming down. This is another angle of the house with hurricane damage. Literally standing on one leg. Then this is the house after it collapsed into the bay. And the house is no more. The house collapsed in October of 2010, so it's been about 8 years since it last collapsed. And then someone took this pic where the Holland Island house used to be like right here, and now there's nothing.